Allen Rio and Chevy.
Propagating truth in a world of lies. You are listening to the JohnAge Project.
Trust no one. Trust no one. Trust no one.
You found it. You're here. You're headlong down the runaway train that is the AnomicAge, and I am your host, JohnAge. Happy to be back with you once again in the not-so-wee hours of the PM. Hailing proudly from the coastal plains of the Old North State, I'll be your tour guide this afternoon as we take a somewhat satirical journey down the path of murder, destruction, mayhem, and the extermination of human life on this planet. A forced march into obsolescence thrust upon us by a global satanic death cult of pedophiles. Check out AnomicAge.com if you've not already done so, folks. Can't imagine why you haven't, but PayPal.me/AnomicAge, Patreon.com/AnomicAge as well. You can find all that and so much more right there at AnomicAge.com. Said this last time, but I'll hit it up again. If you're listening to this on YouTube, please check out the website because there is a plethora of shows that you shall never see on the YouTube platform. You just won't. Hundreds of shows. Hundreds. I think, what have I gotten, like 5 shows on YouTube now since they destroyed my channel and took it all away a few years ago. So check out AnomicAge.com. That's what I recommend. Also, the Cash App. Buy me a cup of coffee and so much more. Free iPhone app. Free newsletter. Android app too. It's all there. AnomicAge.com. So do it. Kind comments, thumbs up, recommendations, all that. I would also like you to do. So if you haven't already done that, then do it already, all right? I don't have to talk about it anymore. So much to get into, but we're going to stick on this topic for the next few. Something I've really been trying to wrap my head around for quite some time. It's easy to do when you look out at the masses, when you go out amongst the people, the common people like you. That great Pulp song. When you go out there, you are immediately, or at least you should be, if you got eyes to see, ears to hear, if you're even the least bit cognizant of your surroundings, you're picking up a disturbance in the force. You should be. Because it is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs out there. It really is. I feel almost dread when I go out. I can't remember where we were at the other day, but I was just like, man, I got to get the heck out of here. This is just disturbing. And I think we all sort of feel something a bit disturbing in the world. But there's a finite area where people really do maintain their cage. And you can do it on a personal level, but as the great George Carlin often remarked, he doesn't have a problem with the individuals. It's when they group up, 2, 3, or even 4. They just become too much to handle. Because it's one thing if you want to muck up your own life with what I refer to often, tongue-in-cheek, as stinking thinking. But when you inflict your own misery, stupidity, or myopic views on the world, then it becomes a problem. Because then other people start to do what people do, follow the leader. They don't have a mind of their own, so they just follow the loudest voice in the room, or whoever's the biggest idiot that has, nowadays, the best marketing. The best marketing is really what steers public opinion now more than ever, I would suggest. But that's where it really boils down to, folks. We'll take a look at it through 2 different lenses, and I will, as I have mentioned, of course, we'll cover some of the obvious topics. Some of the big elephants in the room that you should probably already know. And I might have to speak in code because it is land of the sheep, home of the slave, and you ain't free to say much around this joint. At least not on the YouTube. So on the private level, We all do this from time to time, but we'll tend to sort of live in our own little myopic, very carefully constructed cage. And the cage is great for some. Some people just love to polish the bars. They look out, this is beautiful. Look at my humble home. Again, your home can even be a cage if you allow it to be. But individually speaking, you can have these sort of very self-limiting thoughts. I'm never going to get out of this job. I'm never going to get out of this town. This is what our family's always done. These sort of very simplistic ways of thinking. And we've all done them, so I'm guilty as anybody. But if you're not careful, these become your own mantra. You become someone that says their own story, repeats their own mantra, and lives it. So that's the problem with words. Your mind can't really differentiate words from reality sometimes. So if you say, you're never going to get out of this house, you're never going to get out of this job, this relationship, you're always going to be 500 pounds, you're always going to have a gambling problem, you're always going to have this, that, or the other, then you will. So that's that problem with that stinking thinking and that sort of negative guise that you'll put out there for yourself. And for me, I've had a problem telling my story, if you will. We've all had these I count them as horrible encounters. Birthday parties, Christmas events, hey, even elevator conversation. What do you do, Bob? Well, I sell shoes, Jim. And you know how it goes, folks. And I've had to get on my own back because I will quickly point out my own shortcomings and associate these various qualifiers with why I'm not doing X, Y, and Z, or what I should be doing and should be. You know what I'm saying? So, when I'm speaking to you, I'm speaking to me. We all got to knock this mess off, because if we're not careful, we're going to wake up 70, 80 years old, if we're lucky, still stuck in that same rut that we swore we'd get out of in our 20s. So there's that. But I would suggest you perhaps even the more destructive element of this whole thing, the far more pervasive, because everybody doesn't see what happens behind closed doors. Everyone doesn't see you repeating these negative mantras and entrapping yourself, and thus by proxy shining those little brass bars on your own cage. Everyone doesn't see that. What everyone can see, associate, and appreciate is the groupthink, the hive mentality, the Borg, folks. The Borg. Because it becomes a cage maintenance project. We can all look at things over the last few years, I think you know where I'm going with this, that are emblematic of that cage maintenance. See? Cage maintenance. Anybody who's looking at this artwork, thanks to yours truly. But I tried to really put in place some of these obvious monarch trauma-based mind control elements and succinctly kind of hold the mirror up to the audience. Say, hey, is this you? Stop it. Cage maintenance, folks. We've all been inflicted, or had it inflicted upon us, this notion of trauma-based mind control. We didn't realize, in our early teens most likely, that it was trauma-based mind control, that was Operation Paperclip. It was Nazi scientists coming over here who had already figured out how to inflict trauma on individuals, and then they just flipped the script and did it on the populace. Project Midnight Climax, some of these earlier ones in the 1950s even, that really delved into just that. How can we shape the populace? How can we shape the individual first and the populace secondary? And it became the populace in that secondary side of things, because you look at the 1960s and you look at some of my earlier shows, you'll know that I've already touched on this, talked about this ad nauseum. The Vietnam War, the JFK assassination, MLK, RFK, Malcolm X, it all kind of boils down to trauma. Trauma that we saw decades ago still affects us today. Because your body and your mind, they keep track of all this. These things that you think you've forgotten in the conscious mind, how did that affect me? I was only 2. Well, it did. You just didn't realize it, but it did. It affected you, and it helped you to maintain your cage. So, what am I really talking about here is the maintaining of the cage elements. Those narratives in our society that have been promulgated over and over and over again that we just take at face value because, after all, everybody believes it, right? It's been taught to us in our school. It's in this history book. See, it's right here in black and white. What are you talking about, John? How can you not believe this narrative? The Gulf of Tonkin happened. They told us that for like 50 years. What are you talking about? What do you mean the sinking of the Lusitania? What do you mean that had anything to do with World War I? That went down because the Germans bombed the ship, right? What do you mean the Spanish-American War, the sinking of the Maine? What do you mean that was a intended event? What are you talking about, Pearl Harbor? They knew it was coming. What do you mean FDR had it written beforehand and he pushed and prodded and made it happen to get us into World War II? What are you talking about? That didn't happen. It wasn't in my history book. I didn't have it on the wall back there, right? So we begin to defend and maintain a narrative. We begin to maintain our normalcy bias because we don't want our identity disrupted. We don't want our narrative disrupted. You think about your personal narrative. Imagine the narrative that is the overarching narrative of the society, of the world, of the very matrix, the fabric of it all that you live in. Do you want that disrupted? Of course you don't. So what are you going to do? You're going to maintain the narrative. You're going to maintain your cage. It's for your own best interest. Then you don't have to deal with these larger questions. What does it all mean? Where are we all going? Who's really pulling the strings right here? I thought I had the autonomy. I'm in control. I pay all the bills, and I do this, that, and the other. I go to my job. What are you talking about, John? You're maintaining your cage. So I realize why it's so hard for people to come to grips with the fact that virtually everything you've ever been taught and ever knew and ever was a carefully constructed narrative, a pile of refuse to control you, to get you to go up to the job, to get you to pay the taxes, to get you to have that 2.1 kid, whatever the stupid stat is, to get you to have that big green backyard. It's summertime, right? Everybody's supposed to be putting glyphosate on the yard, fertilizing, and otherwise sterilizing and androgenizing the family so we can maintain that lush green lawn. Because that's all that matters, folks. It's looking green and keeping up with the Joneses. Never mind the fact that it's killing you. Never mind the fact that it's a sterilant. Never mind the androgynous characteristics that are fully on display 8 days a week and twice on Sunday. Just look around. Go out amongst the people and you'll see. You're maintaining your own cage, folks. So some of these obvious narratives that we could easily tackle, the JFK, yeah, it's a lone bullet, you know. I can't even believe that this stuff's even debated any longer. I can't even believe that this big file release that's allegedly going to, you know, they keep putting the carrot in front of the donkey. We're going to release some files. We're going to release some files. And the rank and file on the right just goes along. Okay, we're going to get some files released soon. Oh, somebody's going to jail on this Epstein thing, right? If somebody's going to jail, somebody's going to jail. You know, the same nonsense, folks. It's the equivalent of just go to work and pay your taxes and it'll all work out. It's the equivalent of just put the glyphosate and the fertilizer on the lawn. It's okay. Just eat the Happy Meal. It's got the word happy in it. It's got to be good for you, right? Believe in the Patriot Act. You're either with us or you're with the terrorist. Cage maintenance, folks. That's really what's up. So when people come speaking contra-narratives, it causes consternation. It causes downright anger and arguments, don't it? Because you've got two different types of people out there. You've got the people that actually want to follow the truth, and you've got those people who want to just be pacified, who do not want their worldview disrupted. These become the Stockholm victims. The Stockholm victims are the people that will defend at any cost their captors. Defend the kidnappers. Defend those folks enslaving them. They're the house slaves. Hey, look, master, somebody's getting out. We better go get them. Somebody actually thinks for themselves. Therein lies the problem once again, folks. It's that hive mind, the Borg. Thinking for yourself is muy malo aquí en los Estados Unidos. You got to line up. Either you're on the right side or you're on the left side. You blindly support everything on the right or you blindly support everything on the left. That's it. Those are your two options. Remember the George Bush thing. You're with us or you're with the terrorists. Freedom fries. Look, everything was destroyed but these passports. It's crazy. No, that doesn't look like a plane crash, but that's what it is in Shanksville, I tell you. No, that doesn't look like a plane hit the Pentagon, but that's what they told me. I believe them. That's what they said. It's in this book. See? It's in this history book. And the other blind allegiance is patriotism. We have to support this narrative or we're anti-American. What? We have to support this narrative or we're anti-military. Is that what you just said, really? We have to support the military or... Like, what the bleep does that even mean, folks? But that is the handbasket we are in right about now. You got people maintaining the cage. And then you've got discord, because that's part and parcel one of the primary tenets of the Tavistock Institute. That was primary, one of the tenets of the Communist Manifesto. That was what Rules for Radicals was all about. That was what was up, folks. Creating discord. Frankfurt School 101. Create discord amongst the people. Do that finger pointing thing. That stupid meme with Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man over and over in the stupid circle. And that's really our society right now. Because you've got these people in a malaise maintaining their own cage. Maintaining the cage on the right and the cage on the left. Their racial cage. Their sexual cage. All this other nonsense. You're maintaining a cage, folks. Instead of going, hey, you know we could probably all be free if we just got on the same page instead of maintaining our own cage. But that's not possible, apparently, for the humans in 2025, year of our Lord. It doesn't seem possible at all. But the psychology is, you know, they go back to these very primal instincts of herd mentality, of we better not deviate from the herd or the big lion might get us. We better not deviate from the herd or we might get taken off social media. We better not deviate from the herd or X, Y, and Z might not talk to us anymore. We might not get that promotion at the job. It might make things awkward at the water cooler if we actually let people know that they're full of prunes and their narrative's a bunch of nonsense. So what do? We maintain the cage. We don't want to make anybody feel bad. This is my favorite bit of baloney from the world that we live in now. And you see this ubiquitously in our society. People always want to throw out qualifiers. I've done it myself before. Well, I hate all these people. Well, I don't mean all these people. And then they'll say something and ascribe a masculine pronoun, and women too. You know, this sort of qualification of everything is nauseating. And it's your way of building your own linguistic cage. You have ascribed a cage for yourself. This nonsense of the communists and Satanists over the last 20 years has forced us to throw in all these qualifiers. Well, there's males here, well, there's females here. All this stupid BS, folks. We got to cut it out. Just say what you say and mean what you mean. If people don't like it, then tough. It's okay. You're not meant to be friends with everyone. You just weren't. Okay? You are not meant to coexist with everyone. That's stupid. Really is. Glad I muted that one. This whole cough thing's still kicking my butt here. This ridiculous pollen everywhere. Back to the point, though. You really were not meant to be friends with everyone. You weren't meant to have everyone like you. You were not meant to coexist with everyone. That's just asinine, contrary to human nature. Perhaps when we get to heaven, that's how it'll all work out. But I'm sorry to say, here on this mortal coil, it ain't happening, folks. I'd say even more of a cautionary tale. If everyone likes you and everyone just loves you and you don't ruffle anyone's feathers, you're probably not doing the right thing. That's just you're probably not. We're approaching the Easter story. Even Christ ruffled everybody's feathers, folks. The most perfect man to ever walk the face of this world was killed because he didn't go along to get along. He didn't, folks. I mean, that's the crux of the story. He pointed out the scum being scum. You guys defiling my father's house. You're out here selling trinkets and changing coins. Kicked over the tents. He was challenging the orthodoxy of the Jews at the time. He was saying, this ain't the way. Y'all are wrong. The Pharisees and the Sadducees. That was the point, folks. He didn't go along to get along. Everyone didn't love Christ. I'm sorry to tell you this. This is groundbreaking. But people still, I don't want to upset anybody I don't want to upset anybody at the party. I don't want to, this nonsense. Instead of being true to you, instead of kicking open the door of your own cage maintenance. Cage maintenance again, folks. You can't do everything, but you can do something. You can step out of your own cage and quit maintaining it. I'll be seeing you sooner than later in the AnomicAge.
Thank you for listening to the AnomicAge, a JohnAge project. For past shows, further info, and to comment, go to AnomicAge.com. That's AnomicAge.com. Till next time, thank you for listening to the AnomicAge.